We go. And we're starting with Joe Vitale, a trademark and a copyright lawyer, and he is going to tell us all about when to trademark, what to trademark, how long it takes, and even copywriting, because I think it's so important to actually get your brand secured, get your name secured, because I find that in e-commerce, probably in anything, in any business, they think of a name, then they say, oh, I need a domain name, and they go off and find a domain name, and then they don't find the .com, then they go to .net and everything else, and then they suddenly go, you know what, maybe I should trademark. Oops, right? So I'm going to just dive right in and say, okay, so if you're a new company, I'm now starting out, when do I trademark?
Veronica, that's a really great question. And I think my follow-up question to that is,
yes,
how big do you want your business to get? What is your ultimate goal as a business? Are you wanting to have a thriving 7-8 figure business? Is this more of a hobby? Because that really does affect our legal strategy here.
Yes. Oh, that is fabulous, fabulous. I know. So, but here's the thing, is that people start out with a hobby. They start out with, oh, this is so cool. I need this and I want to sell this. And I can make it. And then they start getting bigger, and then they start getting a little bit bigger, and then it all explodes. And then the shock comes in and goes, okay, there's another company out there, the same name, right? So I know we're supposed to start out with how big we're going to get. I would say 90%, 95% of people have no idea how big their business is going to get or what they really want, because they're not sure, right? So, and I know, so okay, so we ditching the new companies. Let's go to the existing companies. So we started out, we're going great, and then we go, oh, oops, I wonder if I should trademark, because now I want to be on Amazon, right? Amazon Handmade. And they go, oh, you have to be a brand, right? So
yeah, it's interesting. I work a lot with accidental successful business owners.
Yes, exactly.
And that's really what I was getting at earlier, was so many business owners, regardless of where you think your business is going to go, you talk to a lawyer and they say trademarks are important.
Yes.
You can technically skip them if you want to, but if you do skip this part, there's a big chance that you're going to have to deal with this trademark stuff later.
Yes.
And a lot of businesses who either don't know where they're going to go, or they don't see like a big success in the future, they're like, well, that's a risk that I'm willing to take right now.
Yes.
The problem is we make that decision now, saying, oh, I'm going to skip the trademark part. Yes. And then years later or months later, sometimes days later, a cease and desist letter hits us. And we realize that without having a trademark in place, now we really have to rebrand.
Yes.
And that's the real cost here,
yes.
is how willing are you to go through a rebrand?
And a rebrand is not cheap. I've done a rebrand with a client of mine, and she tried to do it the cheap way. Doesn't matter what you do, it costs money. So I have a good story about a cease and desist letter. So plenty of years ago, we came to America, and my sons were in high school, and they were on the internet, and they started a company. Well, it was just a DBA, but they started a company and called it Paintzilla, which was fabulous. They're going to sell paint guns and stuff online. My son drew the Godzilla thing as a Paintzilla guy with a gun and everything. We got a letter from Japan. We got a lawyer's letter from Japan. Holy cow, right? And it happens, right?
Well, and it happens more and more.
Yes.
We're now seeing over 500,000 trademark applications being filed every year.
Wow.
So many of us, when it comes to picking a business name or figuring out, what your shop is going to be called, we do a quick domain search, and maybe we search some social media handles, and then we stop there.
Sometimes they go, I want this name, and you go, no, it's too long, and no, it's this or that. I know.
Yeah, and there's you can talk with naming strategists all day. You can poll your friends on Facebook. But the truth is that so many people, they don't have a lawyer in their corner to tell them that trademarks are a part of the naming strategy.
Yes.
We should be thinking about trademarks before we launch. It's not this thing that eventually, maybe one day we get around to trademarking.
Yes.
Because unless and until you get a trademark registration for your brand, you're taking a huge risk that you're an accidental infringer.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you're also a business coach, right? So you know about business, legalese in business. So my advice has always been, go and talk to a lawyer before you start your business. I mean, even if when I started out plenty of years ago, I set up companies. I would book the lawyer for an hour, and he cost me then $150. That was plenty of years ago, right? But I used to have all my questions down. You don't know chit chat because it cost me money. All my questions down, and it made such a difference in my business when I eventually launched it, because I had everything in place. I had the name in place. Well, it was a different business, by the way. But I knew exactly. And here's the interesting thing that people don't realize is that a business lawyer can also advise you on how to set up your company correctly, right? And how to benefit on the tax side of how you set up your company. I mean, that people just don't know about this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I love that you said, you reached out to someone and you spent that $150. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking, oh, a lawyer just costs money.
No.
And so when can I afford to hire an attorney? I think a better question to ask is, what can you afford right now?
I know.
Like, what can you put as a line item for a legal budget?
Yes.
And then find an attorney who's willing to meet you there.
I know, right?
You might be able to afford me or my attorney friends. You might not. But I built my law firm so that no matter what you can afford, if anything, you can grab a call with me, or I have a resource, something where I can meet you where you're at.
Yes.
Because the ultimate goal of working with a lawyer is for you to take action in some way.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I can't even stress how important that is. And then there's trademarking, is setting up your company properly. I mean, literally, you will be sorry if you don't do that, because it'll cost you money in the end. So instead of spending thousands of dollars on a website, you should be talking to a lawyer first, and then getting your trademark ready and having that vision in your head that, okay, my business is going to be not a huge business, but even a medium-sized business, right? It doesn't matter.
Medium according to who? Yeah, and that's the thing is, once you figure out what numbers-wise you want your business to be, then these labels of big or small don't really matter. It's, I want to be able to take home this as a salary, which means the business needs to make this much money, and we can get out of, are you big, are you small, are you micro, are you 7-figure? None of that really matters as much as what are the goals of your business, and who can you add to this Justice League around your team, lawyers included, Veronica included, to help you hit that goal.
Yeah, exactly. So here's a little tip or a fact, is that according to the government, your business is small and I know manufacturing, but that's sticking in my head, $750,000 and 250 employees. That's a small business.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy.
That's I mean, it's just like, what? 750 or no, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's probably millions by this stage. If you have 250 employees, you don't earn $750, 750K. You're definitely in the millions. But that's what I mean. You have 250 employees. You're still a small business. So as you said, it's just a label, right? So I have another question. Yeah. So trademark. So trademark is the name, the product. What do you trademark?
Trademarking is for brand elements in your business. So This means slightly different things depending on what kind of a business you run. We kind of want to focus on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
In the e-commerce space, it means your name.
Yes.
A logo.
Yes.
A
logo?
slogan. A logo. Yep.
Wow.
A slogan if you have one.
Wow.
And increasingly, we're seeing product lines. So you can't trademark the title of just one of your products, but if you have a collection,
yes,
and you have a name for that collection, that can be something that you can trademark.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
A big mistake people make in the e-commerce space is not realizing that there are things that you can trademark and there are things that you can't trademark.
Yes, yes.
One of the big categories of things that you cannot trademark is just phrases on items.
Yes.
So let's say that you really like this fun phrase and you put it on your jewelry, on your shirts, on your hats. The trademark office calls that ornamental use. And that is not something that you can trademark. There are a lot of trademark applications that get rejected for this reason. And a lot of them are e-commerce people working with Legalzoom who doesn't check their work and they just file it.
Yeah.
Be prepared if you are in a phrase-based merchandise swag kind of e-commerce store.
Yes.
Be careful and don't fall into that trap of trying to trademark the phrases on your items.
Yes. Okay. So could you use the phrase as a collection?
You could.
Right? So you can get around it. That's it. That's actually right, because I mean, obviously people think, oh my gosh, my t-shirt is so cool. I've thought about this. You know, I always say there's nothing original anymore. People have remembered it from somewhere, they've seen it somewhere, they've read it, and they might have a twist on it. But if you're original, then you're absolutely brilliant. You know, you're another. I was just thinking of an artist, but I can't think of one right now. But right, you know, so Michelangelo. There we go. So copyright. What do we do with copyright?
Yeah. So before we get into copyright,
okay,
I have to say,
yes,
a lot of business owners make this other big mistake of treating copyrights and trademarks like they're of equal importance. Before we get into copyrights, I just want everybody to have a big sigh of relief here and say, copyrights, they are important, but they are way less important than trademarks for most e-commerce stores in terms of figuring out what you want to get done. So if you are building a legal to-do list as you're watching this video, feel free to write notes on copyrights, but do not get sucked into the rabbit hole of the copyright world until you get your trademarks registered.
Wow. Why?
Because number one, the things that are most likely to happen in your business legally are going to be trademark issues.
Okay.
Reason number two is that we've talked about trademarks, you know, your business name, your logo.
Yes.
You can copyright a lot more. You can copyright so many of the designs that you do. You can copyright your blog content.
Yes.
You can copyright videos that you do. Once you learn about all the things that you can copyright, it can be a lot of work to file paperwork for all of those things.
Yes.
And so the analysis for what you actually want to protect and register in the copyright world, it's a more strategic, it's like a more intense workout than getting your trademarks done. So before we get into that advanced discussion, let's make sure that you get your trademarks and your brand protected first.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So if I had, and I'm going to get into my thing, I've got a name for my book. Can I? That's copyright or trademark?
Neither. You cannot trademark the title of a book.
No. Okay, never mind then.
Now, there are ways to protect that in other ways.
Yes.
That could turn into a slogan. That could be the name of a podcast that you work on. And it just happens to also be the title of a book. But the way that it works in both of their arenas is that trademarks protect brand.
Yes.
And the title of your book isn't a brand.
No, it's not a brand, no.
And copyrights protect the content of a work, which doesn't include the title of the work itself.
I think we should just come to you. Never mind. We just give Joey a call. This is way too much. But
guys,
I'm
fascinating questions on this. Well, this is where it's really interesting because you have a decision. Once you realize that the legal side is kind of fun and it's kind of interesting, you have to decide whether or not you want to be a business owner and think about this in terms of your time being money and what are you going to do to protect your business. Or indulge, take time off the clock as a business owner,
right? I know.
And play here. Because I can geek out with you on the law all day, but I don't think it's the best thing for your business.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to look where the money is, right? So, e-commerce branding. So when we say, for instance, if you go onto Handmade America, you have to be branded, and then you have to have a trademark, right? Yes, I mean, that's correct. And then how long does it take to get a trademark?
Okay. I love that you asked the question this way. How long does it take to get a trademark? This is what's interesting and important for business owners to know. You can get a trademark instantly for free.
You're kidding.
So just by being in business, just by using your brand, you automatically have trademark rights.
Oh.
A lot of people think that you get trademarked by filing paperwork with the trademark office, which is what I help people with. That's not really how this works. Trademark rights are created upon use, but they're protected when they're claimed at a national level. So it's not that when it comes to these brand registries and things, it's not that you're getting a trademark. It's that you're getting evidence of your trademark. And it's almost like you're going through this process with the federal government to get a birth certificate for your brand.
Oh boy.
And that's what takes a while. Because most trademark applications get denied. And so it's important to take time before you get too loud about your brand to secure it at this national level. And the reason why platforms are getting smart about this is places like Etsy that don't have this brand registry have all of these business owners fighting with each other about who owns what.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And so because platforms that are now seeing that, they've gotten smarter and they've said, you know what, we can cut down on a lot of that by saying we're only going to let you in here once you've got your trademark registration in place.
Whoa.
Because then it's very clear who owns what.
So I want to create my own line of fashion. I'm going to be the next whoever. I'm very bad about names, but I'm going to be Veronica Jeans. And it's until I actually looked at my name on Facebook, I didn't realize how many Veronica Jeanses there were. So what do? I mean, not everybody has registered their name, but so for instance, if I say Veronica Lee Jeans pitches up, right? So they have a trademark, Lee Jeans. So I cannot say, hey, I want Veronica Lee Jeans, right?
Why not?
Oh, that's my question.
You potentially could. So
really?
Again, this is where it gets, again, interesting. And I don't want to talk too much because really when it comes to this topic, you should talk with an attorney directly. But the reason why
many things, right?
The reason why trademarks are so complicated and why people pay me to do what I do is because whether your brand is too similar to another person's brand, it's not a very clear black and white test.
Oh, okay. That's my question.
So when the trademark office is looking at an application, and to answer your question from earlier, a trademark registration takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to happen.
Okay.
Part of what the trademark office is doing during that process is seeing, do we want to allow your application or is it too similar to somebody else's application? And when they're doing that, it's called the likelihood of confusion test.
Okay, yes, that makes sense.
And that is the number one reason why they deny people's trademarks. But it's a pretty nuanced strategy. They have thousands of reviewing attorneys checking as they're making these calls on applications. And to give you an example of how this is kind of tricky, you know the company Blue Apron?
Oh yeah.
So recently, there was another company that got denied that was called Green Apron.
Oh, wow.
Served a similar industry. But the trademark office said, how likely is it that somebody who sees Green Apron could think that maybe it's like some version of Blue Apron?
Blue Apron, yes.
And that's really what they're trying to figure out here is, can someone see your brand and think that somehow you're associated with this other brand?
Exactly. And that's the same thing if you have a domain name, very, very similar to another domain name is, it's just, yeah. And so I have a couple of clients that obviously have names, and then I know that she's in Whole Foods right now, right? So, and it's a very common name. It's Hug Patrol. So she could get into trouble because her name is very similar to the nonprofit Hug Patrol Bears, which I discovered by accident, right? So
is that a different industry than what she does?
Totally different industry. It's a nonprofit.
So in that case, there probably is not going to be a likelihood of confusion between the customers.
Okay. So
like there are two big brands that are both called Delta. Yes. One's an airline, one's a faucet company.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yes. I get it.
And so the fact that there can be two brands that are in totally different industries, that's part of the analysis. Okay. So it's not just how similar are the names, but it's how similar are the services or products.
Yes, exactly. That makes total sense. Okay, so, and I always get the question is, I have to trademark, it's going to cost me a lot of money. I don't want the exact numbers, but what is the cost of, and I know it takes a long time to do this, because I did do one of your courses, which I absolutely love, because I was, I can get into this stuff, right? But it just takes a long time. And I've had a client that sat on this for months on end because she couldn't get it done. And she eventually got her trademark denied. And then she went to a lawyer, and then it was approved. But she spent all these hours on actually doing the research and not really knowing what she's actually researching, right? Because they don't.
Yeah. So in terms of the fees of moving forward, you're right. There's a lot of time that you can spend doing it on your own.
Yes.
So to one extreme, you have the option of working with an attorney.
Yes.
That's usually thousands of dollars.
Yes. Well,
but that is completely off of your plate.
Yes.
They do everything.
Yes.
And
from the filing to the if it get denied, that you apply again and put your arguments forward, right?
Yep. And because it takes so long, I will say that what separates the really good trademark lawyers from the average ones is more the customer experience.
Yes.
Are they keeping you updated throughout the process?
Yes.
Are they are they making it really easy for you to get in contact with them?
Yes.
Because you know the difference between 2-star service and 5-star service, and that matters when it's a 6 months or year-long journey together.
Yes.
So then you have, to the other extreme, the option of totally doing it yourself, which it sounds like your friend might have done.
And then going through Legalzoom, right?
Yeah. So trying to do it yourself, there's a lot of research that needs to be done. No matter what, you have to pay a filing fee of at least $225.
Oh, wow.
You could use a service like Legalzoom.
Yes.
The problem with Legalzoom is all of these nuances that we've been talking about.
Yes.
They don't look at any of that.
Oh, wow.
Legalzoom is just a fancy form filling service.
Oh, yeah,
so
I know that. Yes.
They'll ask you questions, you answer them. They
in
don't
a
look
form,
at what you
in a
wrote.
form, you don't talk to anybody. It's just these questions in a form.
They just take what you wrote and they use that to apply.
Yes, exactly.
And you're likely going to face problems that way. The reason why Legalzoom is profitable is because they make a lot of money on the back end. So they'll come to you saying, we have these problems.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cheap to get started, but now it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to move forward.
Exactly, and that's what happens. And
so that's their business model. And then you mentioned our program. So we created a middle solution where we show you in a course how to do this yourself in about 3 hours. what the major mistakes are so you can avoid those mistakes.
Yes.
But we also don't just kind of send you to Google so you have to do all this yourself.
Yes.
And so at this point, we have over 250 members in the program.
Yeah.
And people are really loving how easily they can get started.
Yes.
Really making it seem like they can run those searches, they can get those applications submitted pretty quickly. And then hopefully, usually they get the registration. If not, they understand what it means when they get that status update from the trademark office.
Exactly. And I think I was in one of your first courses, and I did the whole thing because I was just interested in how it actually works. And the conclusion I came to is, I think Joey can do this.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing about our course is we work in connection with my law.
Exactly.
So anybody who gets the course and like you realizes, you know what, I think I'd rather just, even though this is easier than doing it on my own, I would rather have someone just take it all for me.
Yes.
You will credit the cost of the entire course to working with my firm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I found. Yeah, that's what I found amazing, because you can go in and go, okay, you know, I have a really easy name, no problems, get it done, finished, and off you go. You know, happily off you go. Or you can get into a situation that's like, ooh, shoot, I didn't realize it was this much work, and there's are problems here, and just let's get it done. I totally believe in using the experts, because you should be running your own business. That's where your strengths lie. Because if you are trying to be your accountant, your lawyer, whatever else, your coach, whatever else is, you take so much time to actually create the website. I've got one guy it's been a year, and I've been really on him, come, let's go. But he's so lost in the, I can do this on my website. I can do this in my store. I can code a little bit. And I go, no, you're kidding me, right? You are kidding me right now. So, and so you, if you had an expert, you just go in, have it done, and then start selling. You need to make money. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? You need to make money. So yes, this is fabulous. So any other good tips that we need to know that you could sort of think of the top of your head?
Well, one of the common questions that I get after we talk about copyrights versus trademarks is, well, what's the difference then between an LLC and a trademark?
That was my question.
And do I get any naming rights when I form the LLC?
Yes.
And the short answer is no.
No.
The main purpose of the LLC is that it gives you limited liability protection.
Yes.
So it shields your personal assets if anything bad were to ever happen to you.
Yeah.
But that LLC name that you get, I like to think of it more as like a backstage name for your business.
Yes.
So you're communicating that LLC name to your clients when they sign up with you. It's on the invoices. It's in the contracts. Your bank knows the name of the LLC, but it's not, the LLC name isn't really the forward-facing brand.
Exactly.
And if someone else has the trademark to it and all you've got is the LLC name, you can't point to that at all to play defense.
Exactly. So here's the thing is, you can actually have an LLC with a name, and you can have your face-fronting brand could be doing business ads, right? Because and then that is your brand. Again, it's your name, your brand. That's the most important part. And I'm so happy you mentioned the LLC or the I'm incorporated. And because from overseas, and it's always PTY limited, right? But it does protect you, right? It does protect you if you're selling something and they are either consuming it, putting it on their skin, doing whatever, even just buying something from you, and they want to sue you or they want to do something because they came to harm or whatever, they can do that, but you can be protected behind that corporation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if this is triggering any questions, usually when people have the chance to sit in on a legal conversation like this, they want to raise their hands and they have all these questions.
Yes.
I have a podcast that's a little over 2 months old now, and it's a great resource for you to just kind of binge through topics that I get asked about all the time. And so if like Veronica right now, you're like, maybe I don't have any specific questions, but I'm
Yes.
curious what questions I should be asking.
Exactly.
I go through a ton of my answers to that question
Okay.
in the podcast every week.
Brilliant. And we'll put this in the group, on this feed. It's not a feed, it's actually a post, but and all your information and everything's on the website as well. But we are getting ready for our next speaker, so we're going to have at least 15 to 20 minutes, 15 or so minutes to ask questions right now of Joey. And so if you have any questions, ask them below. Otherwise, go and listen to his podcast. You are going to have so much fun, right? Because I think you should protect your name. You really, really should protect your name. So, and it's money well spent. And Joey I've got to say, Joey, you've been amazing with any of my clients I've had. I've sent you away. I don't even know if you've worked with anybody, but I'm always going, shoo, 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 go to Joey.
Oh, thank you.
So go talk to him. So anyways, thank you very much for listening. And thank you so much for Joey for popping on with us. I am so excited about this. We will get ready for the next speaker. It's going to be on the hour. And so thanks, Joey.
Bye, everybody.